Hey, how you doing? This is Adam Post, publisher of more than 1,000 comic books, and I've been covering Disney very carefully over these past few months, particularly Bob Iger taking over for Bob Chapek, throwing him out of the role as CEO. Of course, the board of directors did that, but I think Bob Iger probably helped just a little bit. But now, thanks to Bob Iger and Bob Chapek fighting with the state of Florida, because Chapek was kind of egged on by Bob Iger from the sidelines, this has resulted in a total surrender of their battle with Florida to get control and maintain control of the Reedy Creek District, where if you know Florida and you know that Disney World has 25,000 acres controlled by its Reedy Creek District, they've kind of given up on that. Disney will not fight Ron DeSantis' takeover of the special district in Orlando that operates all their theme park areas and all the land controlled by what used to be the special private government controlled by Disney. Pretty incredible they're not going to fight it anymore, but the truth of it is they probably work behind the sidelines. The deal's not that terrible for Disney, but it's still actually pretty bad because it gives unlimited leverage to the governor of Florida, who appoints the 5 people on the board that control this area, that have tremendous power over the theme parks. They're all appointed now by the Florida governor. So Disney's going to be under their thumb, and they're not going to be fighting nearly as much with the Florida governor. But let's get into this article and get into the details. Before we do, please be sure you are subscribed to the channel. Click the bell for notifications. Give me a thumbs up. I really appreciate you guys. This is coming from Variety. Disney will not fight a bill that gives Governor Ron DeSantis broad powers over its Orlando theme parks after the bill passed both houses of the Florida Legislature this week. The bill establishes a new district to assume the powers held by the Reedy Creek Improvement District, which Disney has controlled since it was created in 1967. This was an incredible deal for Disney, where they really got to control their own local government privately for all of their business interests, to develop the theme park and everything else around the theme park. It's like 25,000 acres, almost 40 square miles, and they controlled the taxes and they controlled how everything was done. They didn't need building permits, so they could make the theme parks as big as they wanted. But that's all in the past now, thanks to Bob Chapek screwing around with the governor of Florida. The new entity, called the Central Florida Tourism Oversight District, will be run by a 5-member board appointed by Ron DeSantis and confirmed by the state Senate. State Senate is also Republican, so there you go. In a statement, Disney said it's ready to work within this new framework, indicating that it will not try to challenge the law in court. The legislature moved to dissolve the Reedy Creek District last April after Disney came out against the parental rights in education law, known to its critics as the, quote, "Don't Say Gay" bill. Some observers had suggested that Disney could file a First Amendment lawsuit or seek to challenge the takeover on various other grounds. But Jeff Vail, the president of Walt Disney World Resort, said in a statement released last Friday that the company will accommodate itself to the new reality. Quote, "For more than 50 years, the Reedy Creek Improvement District has operated at the highest standards, and we appreciate all that the district has done to help our destination grow and become one of the largest economic contributors and employers in the state. We are focused on the future and are ready to work within this new framework, and we will continue to innovate, inspire, and bring joy to the millions of guests who come to Florida to visit Walt Disney World each year." The legislation was introduced on Monday. It passed the state House of Representatives on Thursday on a vote of 82 to 31, with 81 Republicans and 1 Democrat voting yes. All 31 no votes came from the Democrats. The state Senate approved the bill on Friday with a party line vote, meaning Republicans, with 26 Republicans in favor and 9 Democrats opposed. It now goes to DeSantis for his signature. So when DeSantis signs it, it's done. The Reedy Creek Improvement District has broad authority over zoning, infrastructure, fire response, and public utilities over a nearly 40 square mile area in Osceola and Orange counties. The entity levies taxes on Disney and issues tax-exempt bonds for infrastructure projects. So they were allowed to issue tax-exempt bonds, meaning no taxes on the interest earned on those bonds. That is a government. As by far the largest landowner within the district, Disney has had the power to elect the 5 members of the Board of Supervisors, but not anymore. In establishing the new district, the legislature left almost all of its powers intact. The legislation does remove the power to build a nuclear power plant and an airport, but those powers had never been used. Can you imagine that Disney actually had the freedom to create their own nuclear power plant? I mean, within the state of Florida under their own control and their own management. That gives you an idea of how much power they blew by messing with the state of Florida. And it's understandable. They're a very big company. They have a lot of resources. They control a lot of media. They can push narratives. They can spend money. They could tie up even the state of Florida in lawsuits. The problem is, when it comes down to it, the state does control important things. Like, the state is moving to strip Florida's venue liquor license. There was a Christmas drag show. It didn't really warn parents appropriately of what some of the content was. It was some racy content. And Ron DeSantis basically is saying, no, I'm not going to have that in the state of Florida. You now just lost your liquor license. So it's pretty clear that even though Disney has a lot of power, they have a lot of control, owning your own private county in a state government doesn't actually mean that you have a legislature. So laws can be passed at any time to do what they just did to Disney. So Disney is not going to be able to get as pushy and agenda-driven, especially with any state laws in Florida. That won't happen as long as there's a Republican governor. The practical effect of the change could end up being negligible, and park employees and visitors are unlikely to notice any difference. But DeSantis and future governors will have broad power to make life difficult for Disney if they choose to exercise it. Quote, it's like Disney is operating in a low-security prison where they can still do what they want to do, but there's guards around them at all times, said Democrat Representative Anna Eskamani, who has been among the most vocal critics of the state takeover. They can't speak up against the governor ever. Well, the thing with Disney is this. It's one thing if Disney is a company, but when they're acting as their own government, it's too much. You can't attack the parent government. You just can't do that. It's too much. Now that they've given up the control of the district, they just have freedom to do business. As this Democrat rep said, she's right. They're operating in a low security prison. They can be more judgmental of the state if they want to. They can do that all day long. There's not going to be immediate political backlash or anything like that. But they can't attack the state and control a private county government at the same time. That's really asking too much. Fighting the law in court would have carried its own downside. A lawsuit might have dragged on for years with uncertainty over who was truly in charge of the district and leaving the district staff incapable of executing projects. Already, it's slowed down projects and created a lot of uncertainty, which is terrible for Disney's business right now. And it's not great for Florida, but it's much worse for Disney than it is for Florida. It would also have embroiled the company further in a local culture war that it's been trying to extricate itself from. There was no guarantee of success, as many observers said that the legislature has broad latitude to take away authority it had previously given. Because of course, if you have the authority to give away authority, of course you have the authority to take away that authority. It's not like they gave away ownership of part of the state of Florida to this completely separate sovereign government, even though Disney did for a while print their own Disney dollars. In the past, Disney has been a major source of campaign contributions in Florida elections. The company suspended contributions to politicians to both parties last March as the quote, "don't say gay" controversy erupted. As of yet, those contributions have not restarted. But look, fighting battles is expensive, no matter what you're doing. This is not a battle that Disney could have won, similar to Disney's battle with Nelson Peltz, where they capitulated to Nelson Peltz and gave Peltz everything he wanted without Peltz having to go on the board. Did a couple of videos about that recently. Even have a Godfather impression. Check out the Peltz is not done video. Let me know what you think of this in the comments below. Did you think Disney would surrender so easily? Did you think they would fight it in court? I know there was a lot of talk about Disney potentially fighting this in court. I thought it was at least like a 75% chance they would fight it in court. I guess the problem is when you really sit down with the attorneys, you realize like Disney has enough of its own problems without trying to go to war with Florida. And this is a very difficult situation to have to explain to shareholders of why are you in this situation in the first place? Political ideology and political commentary, whatever you want to do, but it really had nothing to do with them operating their business. It really didn't. It was kind of inexcusable, and it pointed to some terrible mismanagement from Bob Chapek. But let me know what you think of all this in the comments below. Really always love to see your comments. Please be sure you are subscribed to the channel. Click the bell for notifications and give me a thumbs up, and I'll see you again soon with another video. And if I don't see you, I will miss you.